Good afternoon and happy Monday, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Live Up to Freedom. I truly hope that you had a wonderful long weekend and had a great celebration of Independence Day, 4th of July, and you stayed safe and you still have all of your fingers. I was very much expecting to come back after a week of break from being on air. I was expecting to come back to a fairly busy day of news, but I definitely underestimated that. I did. Now, as you all, those of you who follow my social media, Substack, Facebook, I didn't technically take off. Am still continuously reporting on what's happening, especially with Iran. Um, but last night, 2 nights ago, Saturday night, I am still tuned in and watching Iran's news channel, IRIB, which is the Islamic Republic of Iran's broadcasting, and I witnessed the monster show up on a stage. Khamenei, the supreme leader, is finally out of his bunker in one piece, unfortunately. Well, technically two piece because his right hand has been fake for many years now. And he came on one of the Muharram events or locations. For those of you who may not know what it is, in month of Muharram, Ashura, and Tasua, you've seen it in London many times. Here, Michigan, LA, where Shia Muslims get on the street wearing all black, grieving the death of Hussein centuries ago, and they pretty much cry and beat themselves up and all that. Anyways, that's where he showed up, and of course, he claims victory, and those in the venue get up chanting all for him. And he declares that, he's back. He took the power and he had, for the sake of the country and the people, he temporarily had to assign power to IRGC Supreme Council, the whole thing. And hints at the fact that the ceasefire was declared while he was not in power, and now he's back in power, so there's no ceasefire. Let's start from there. Technically, by definition, there's no ceasefire. And technically, he's right. The ceasefire was not between Khamenei as supreme leader and Israel. It was between IRGC Supreme Council and Israel. Now they're not in power anymore, so whatever decision they made, Khamenei could have renewed and say, yes, I agree to it, but he decided to say no. With that being said, I'm personally standing by ready for the next bomb to drop. Yay. Now, while I believe, in about 2 hours, Benjamin Netanyahu and President Trump are meeting here in Washington, D.C., and lots of talk, I'm sure, is going to go on. What's going to happen after that meeting? I have no clue. What I hear is that Israel is here to get guarantees that if Iran continues their enrichment, uranium enrichment and nuclear facilities, that America will guarantee to join Israel on an actual military attack. Is this going to happen or not? I don't know. No, I don't think it's going to happen. But while all of this is going on here in D.C., while President Trump and Trump administration are still looking for negotiation, finding a permanent peace deal, and Netanyahu and his idea for figuring out what's next, Iran clerics are issuing fatwas and bounties on Netanyahu and Trump. Pardon, my face speaks out really loud, so when I'm on camera, you'll see what I'm thinking before I tell you what I'm thinking. But it is hideous what's happening. It is so hideous. On all 4 topics I'm going to talk about on 4 segments today, every single one of them are hideously tragic. The fact that there is still some sort of hope somewhere in somebody's heart and mind that we're going to come to some sort of peace agreement permanently, forever, with the Mullahs in Iran. It's funny, as my face is telling you. They have started with some of the clerics and Friday prayer imams coming out and saying, it wasn't a bounty, it was just a fatwa issued against Netanyahu and Trump, saying their life is halal. It's every Muslim's duty to protect the supreme leader. And since Trump was mean to Khamenei, and Netanyahu has said that he was a target, then they're, go draw blood, kill him. Started from there. But yesterday, something more interesting happened. Starting this morning, U.S. time, there are some confusions. First of all, I need to clear, and this isn't this is important because I like to be factual. Let's just start with an article that Gateway Pundit released, I believe, earlier this morning. And this is nothing against Gateway Pundit. I know they don't have an Iranian-speaking person, but they put out a article saying that, what is it? It's like now the bounty on President Trump is $21 million with a screenshot properly of a target on President Trump's face and the amount on top, 21 some million. And then they reported that they got this information from an Iranian linked, the ending of the URL tar.ir. That's where they got the information, and it's accurate, but it's incorrect. If we could actually click on that link right now on tar.ir. So what that page is about, on my original reporting about it, I said they have put a website up to crowdfund the bounty. So I don't know what exactly there we go. So if we put that on the screen, right now it has gone up to $25,856,032. Okay, so the mistake is originally made by Gateway Pundit, and from there, every other American outlet picked it up. The bounty isn't up to $25 million. It's how much they have raised. The bounty put on President Trump's head is close to $2 million, 100 billion 2 months of Iran money, translated to close to 2 million. Tomorrow it could be 2.1, day after it could be 1.9, but with the exchange of dollar to 2 months, it's close to 2 million. This is what they have raised because they put out a website. Again, you can find the original report translation on both my Substack and Facebook. They did announce that there's a crowdfunding, and this is how much it has been saved until, it's been raised until now. So even though we go back to the fact of a bounty in a minute, but I would like to make sure that the accurate information is being released. The bounty is not being raised every minute. This is a website where people are making donations. At the bottom, in Farsi, it actually says that this website is being up to moment updated. And then next to it is the most important part where they have it in English. This campaign is not funding terrorism. It is funding the fight against U.S. state terrorism. Let me read that one more time. Thank you it's big enough for you to read it too, but this campaign is not funding terrorism. It is funding to fight against U.S. state terrorism. You see why I started giggling a little bit earlier? This is what they're doing. And over here in Washington, D.C., President Trump and Bibi Netanyahu are sitting to figure out how to find a permanent peace deal with these people. Where, how, this 2 + 2 is not coming to a 4, not even a 5, hey, not even a 12. And one of the things I said originally when I came to the information, and I confirmed it, and I watched the video of the original cleric who put out the 2 million, close to $2 million bounty. I started digging, and then there's another Iranian website. You won't understand the English Farsi part, but at the bottom, they have a screenshot of the donations. If we could put this one up, there we go, right there. That's with the green writing is where the donations are. So you can see that people are donating. The amounts are in English, actually, in 2 month currency, but you have anywhere from 100,000 2 month to 10,000 2 month to 2,000 2 month. Small pieces are being donated. So I went and find my way into the actual behind the scene of, okay, where can I donate? And some of the donations aren't even from Iran. Some are coming from Azerbaijan. There was a donation from Dubai. So this website is accepting donations from everywhere. Anyone in this planet Earth who hates President Trump and wants him dead is allowed to make a donation. Now, what I suggested on a private phone call with a dear friend of mine, Michael Lauber, I said, I would like to see FBI immediately jump on this and start digging into donors. And I want to know how many Americans or Iranian Americans, or more specifically, liberal socialist Democrats are donating to this campaign. But then, unfortunately, I received some bad news, which we will get to that on the next segment, that I figured I shouldn't hold my breath about FBI doing this. Bottom line is, ladies and gentlemen, for so many years as an Iranian American, I have sat in front of so many different microphones, so many different cameras, so many different keyboards, and I have repeatedly said that trying to make a deal with these mullahs in any shape or form, it's absolutely suicidal. Well, there you have it. Now, I want to make one more thing clear, because some of the comments on my social media said, well, you originally in 2021 said there is a bounty on President Trump, and guess what? Nothing happened. Few things I need to address. First of all, yes, I actually broke that news right here on Worldview Tube on Brandon House Live when I said IRGC put a fatwa, not a bounty, difference, put a fatwa on President Trump saying because he ordered the kill of Qasem Soleimani, his blood is halal, meaning Muslims should go kill him. What is the difference? A fatwa is an order, is a judgment. A bounty is a cash award topping that bounty. They call it the motivation. A lot of Muslims have not actually done much of a killing or, stabbing until money came to the table. So the scenario is very different today. Today, anyone who manages to, God forbid, take out President Trump will receive about $2 million. Now, depending on from which country they are, that money might be a lot more worth to them than a $2 million in America. Now, the second part of it is there were attempts on President Trump and the rest of the list. Remember when they were trying, they have a conviction of the IRGC member plotting the assassination of Mike Pompeo. So for anyone to take this lightly and say, well, it hasn't happened, that's not the point. Number one point is, why are we still trying to make a deal with a government that has put out a $2 million bounty on the head of our sitting president and have raised over $25 million as we speak right now? Why is that website up and running? Since when, publicly, openly, not in dark web, it is okay to raise money for an assassination of anybody, nonetheless, the sitting president of the United States of America? Answer that. And yes, at the end of the day, we should all be very concerned. And I really, truly hope that President Trump and his administration are taking these threats very seriously, because it happens once. And it's not like it has never happened in our history. And none of the assassination of presidents in America ever had $2 million behind it. We got to go to our first ad break. Let's go take a quick sponsor break. When we come back, I will conclude on this and then throw I guess why I gave up on FBI even investigating. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Live Up to Freedom. Thank you so much for staying with me until now. And I should say, we are live, so I am keeping an eye on the comment section to the best of my ability as I go through everything I need to go through. So if you have a question, comment, suggestion, anything, feel free to put them on any of the comment sections of any platform you're watching, and I will keep an eye on it. And yes, from Facebook comment by Yvonne. I think that's how we say your name. I'm sorry if I butchered it. I hope Trump is seeing the situation for what it is. I do too, and I pray that he does. I highly doubt he does. At the moment, he is surrendered by you know who and you know how, and there are way too many whispers going on in his ear, and he's still chasing after that Peace Prize. So I'm not sure if he's going to actually see this, because technically he could take this. Well, Netanyahu can take Khamenei's sentence from yesterday that there is no ceasefire. Let's go back in. I would. I'm not a warmonger, no. Well, we had him. We should have let Israel finish the job. We didn't. Okay, there was a minute of ceasefire there. Supreme Leader officially annulled it. So we're back. As far as President Trump is concerned, what has been officially announced, trackable, traceable, right there publicly in front of his face, he can use this to decapitate this regime. This is an official hit with $2 million backed reward on his head. That right there. Question is, are they going to take action? The answer is most likely absolutely not. And that is related to the second problem that I'm going to talk about before we get to the third and the fourth. I almost feel like I wish I had 3 hours on air today. Okay. Why did I tell you that I gave up on FBI bothering to look into this website and the donors and all that? By now, everybody heard. Everybody heard. Now, I'm going to do one of my, I said this before, nobody heard, or I said this before, and the backlash basically chewed my face off. 2 months ago, I came out and I said, well, originally when Pam Bondi was confirmed and I was asked, I said, not a fan of her. Not because she's evil or whatever. She just doesn't have what it takes. Everyone's like, you don't know what you're talking about. And she's from Florida and she's done this and she's done that. And I said, well, my personal opinion, my personal look at her resume, when originally back in, I want to say 2018 or 16, when the Tate brothers case started in Florida. Well, she didn't do anything about it. Remember? That is enough for me with my own struggle and my own constant chasing after the Tate brothers cases and, Islamic movement. If she didn't do anything back then, she's not going to do anything about it now. I was really a huge fan of Cash Patel. That failed. Dan Bongino, I was against. And all of these comments have earned me enough backlash, so I'm fine with backlashes today too. But well, here we go. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Americans. Epstein killed himself, and he didn't even have a client list. He didn't. But what are you all talking about? It's not like Republicans let me rephrase that. It's not like conservatives used 6 years of Epstein didn't kill himself, released the client list to further their own movement, from campaigns to podcasts to owning Rumble. That was the slogan. Epstein name, and the fact that he didn't kill himself, and the fact that this client list shall not be hidden from public Americans. We have gone from 6 years of building dollar on top of dollar, title on top of title, winning campaigns over winning campaigns, to, well, guess what? He didn't kill himself. And there was no client list. What you talking about? He was just the individual sick-minded person, and now he's dead. Let's all move on. Nothing to see here. Yeah. Just in case for any reason it was a busy Monday and you haven't heard the news, that was concluded officially today by FBI and DOJ. It's done. Epstein case closed. No list, no clients, nothing. Nothing to see here. Like, officially, the joke of nothing to see here has become reality today. Now, there was a time, don't quote me on it because last couple of weeks have been really blurry. Month and a half ago, Dan Bongino and Cash Patel came on camera on Fox News, dropped the bombshell, originally softening the tone into, well, we now have the evidence that Epstein did not kill himself. Did kill himself, sorry. He wasn't murdered. Dan Bongino claimed that there's a new video that has been released that proves that Epstein did kill himself. I have not seen the video yet, but if you have, good for you. And right there and then is when I said, wait, as there will be no client list, there will be no further investigation, and there will be nothing to see here. And again, the backlash was, you're an ever Trumper and you hate that Mangino and the usual. Well, this is my moment. I told you so. I didn't tell you so because I somehow have some hidden camera inside FBI. No, I told you so because, again, I tend to turn off my emotions. I tend to have no interest to be part of any cult whatsoever. Been there, done that, not interested ever again. And I tend to look at the scenario as a timeline. Remember, I'm a producer. I've been doing video editing for over 13 years. Everything is a scenery added together to create the final movie. Because I can see that, I could easily see there will not be a client list released. Now, I don't know how many people are believing this. I'm not gonna believe it. I'm not gonna buy it. But what I will say is, again, for anybody who thought somehow who's in the White House is gonna make a difference when it comes to the swamp and the corruption and the disgusting cover-up for pedophilia and sickness in America, well, there you have it. There you have it. By today, if there was even a shred of evidence for anyone to be held accountable, it has been removed, shredded, ashes, I don't know. It's gone. So here's another Americans deserve to know the truth case down the drain, down the swamp, as swamp stands strong. Now, I have seen many people today, some are saying, oh, Trump should fire Pam Bundy. Some say Trump should fire Pam Bundy, Cash Patel, and Dan Bongino. All of that. And here's a question. Okay, we fire all three of them. Who are we going to replace them with? Wasn't this, I saw social media lit up by these names. Again, I personally had a lot of a stand for Cash Patel. I did. I am extremely disappointed. However, the question is, social media was lit up by these three names. That was it, remember? That's it. This is it. FBI will be cleaned up. FBI will be freed of corruption. FBI will do this, and FBI will be doing that. And that's exactly why I'm like, this morning, I'm like, FBI should dig into this website, this fundraising, figure out who's donating, and anybody who is donating to this website from any country should immediately be put on a list. On a list. If they are Americans, they should be investigated and trial for contribution funding, assassinations. If they're outside of America, they should be added to a list that they can never come to America, right? That would be a logical way to do. But then you look at the FBI today, you're like, never mind. Never mind that. Why would we want to do that? Why? It is very discouraging to know that there is officially no name left on the list of the good guys. It is disappointing and discouraging to know that apparently, no matter what, the moment the key to one of the official government offices is handed over to someone, they will gladly flush down all of their values and all the slogans they used for so many years. I mean, again, I have never officially, publicly, I've never been a fan of Dan Bongino. I've never followed him. I don't watch his full shows. I just don't. Personal reasons. However, I am very well aware of how he built his platform and how much of Epstein case was of his go-to. And now the man who got behind the entire cover-up of the Epstein file and the client list. And again, Uniparty, apparently it's way wider and stronger than any of us ever thought. Now, I'm going to quickly talk about this just because I was asked. And again, for those of you who are strictly just watching me on videos and don't follow social media, I have requested if you have questions about the events of our days, Middle East here, whatever is happening, you can always send them to me ahead of time before my show. I'll grab them and I answer them. They can be sent to my email, liveuptofreedom@gmail.com. Liveuptofreedom@gmail.com is where you can send them. One of the questions I was asked via email by one of my great supporters on Facebook was, what are my thoughts on this Elon Musk's new party? The America Party or America First Party or whatever he's calling it. I don't know what the name is going to be. Just wait. I have a feeling it's going to be X Party soon. But what are my thoughts? I have never trusted Elon Musk whatsoever. Never. If you go back on the archive of my shows, again, another program right here on Worldview YouTube that was also streaming on my personal YouTube and Facebook, you'll find that day after Elon Musk purchased back then Twitter, now X, I actually went on my regular show live for 30 minutes or so, and I said, for everybody who's celebrating, sit tight, this isn't over. Elon Musk isn't going to give you free reach or free speech or any of that. Just sit tight. Well, again, there are still many people who will tell you that they're heavily shadow banned. I gave up on X many years ago. I tweet, I don't know, once a year, I think, something like Merry Christmas or Happy New Year. That's all I got. But there are people actively who will tell you that their X account is shadow banned, or they kicked out, or they never got their account back. But here's what I can tell you: IRGCs is still actively on X. They are there in both Farsi and English. Hey, here's another thing I'll tell you. Khamenei has an official English, Arabic, and Farsi accounts checkmarked on X while putting $2 million bounty on Trump's head. That's where X is at. So, with that being said, I don't trust Elon Musk. I do not believe, never did, still don't think that he has any care for America or Americans. What he cares for is money. Is he the richest man on the planet right now? Yes. Is that enough for him? Absolutely not. He got a bit of a taste of real power and he liked it. Now, I know some people say this fallout was all theater. I don't know. I don't think it was, but even if it was, the point is he liked being the richest man. Now he likes to be the most powerful man involved with politics. I don't like that he did what he did because I think it was a very smart move. He might be able to grab a lot of independents who are tired of left and right, like myself, but don't do thinking for themselves. They still need a third party to do the thinking for them. With that being said, I will agree with President Trump's statement that this will only create chaos. It will, and it is what it is. We are where we are. We all feel the way we feel, and nobody can stop Elon Musk from creating his party. He's got the money, he's got the power, he's got the connections, and this is America. What we can do is pray for people to understand who they're dealing with, what they're dealing with, and not fall for another slogan or a fancy name on a party or a movement. Okay, this is it for our second segment. We're going to take a quick ad break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the next bad news. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Well, hello everybody, it's Annie Cyrus. Welcome to my art studio where all the magic happens. This is the station for painting, and that is the station for all the resin art I do. If you want to check out my art, all you gotta do is go to lutfstudio.com. But I'm sure, or at least I hope, I'll see you at lutfstudio.com. Okay, welcome back to Live Up to Freedom. Thank you so much for staying me for the first half an hour. I hope you do stay with me for the remaining 30 minutes left of this program. It would be greatly appreciated if you do head over to lutfstudio.com, pick up a piece or two or five, or place a custom order, because that's one of the main ways actually I'm paying the bills right now. So your purchase will be greatly appreciated. And until end of tonight, actually, our 4th of July sales is still ongoing. All of the crosses are 20% off, all remaining items 15% off. So you may want to jump on that before midnight Eastern time tonight, where the sales will end. lutfstudio.com. lutfstudio.com. Promo code MISSION will get you even extra. On top of sales going on, you get extra discount. Okay, let's get to it. Another fabulous. This one will be a Substack coming later this afternoon to expand, because in 15 minutes it's kind of hard to go over it. But another fantastic move by the fantastic, glorious Trump administration that is to be published tomorrow. However, it was released today. A letter from Department of State signed by Marco Rubio. If we could put that on a screen, let me see if I can keep my voice. I'm going to read right off of this thing. Department of the State Public Notice 12762 says revocation of the Foreign Terrorist Organization designation of Al-Nusra Front, also known as Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. This very organization is officially effective June 23rd. Now, June 23rd, not today, not tomorrow, June 23rd, officially, this terrorist jihadist organization has been removed from the foreign terrorist organizations. Now, I'm pretty sure Marco Rubio is not going to receive as much backlash as Pam Bundy, but he should. And anybody else behind it, anybody who was involved in this decision. Let me tell you why. There isn't much here. It's not telling you much. That's why the Substack is coming soon. I tried my best to have it ready before the show. Excuse me. It was impossible. There is rain outside and my allergies are killing me. Okay. Number one, why is this a bad thing? In general, it's not super easy. You just don't throw a pen at someone and make your way into the foreign terrorist organization list in America. So my general policy, if an organization has made it into the list, let them stay in the list. Same thing applies to MEK. I've talked about MEK, and one of these days I'll talk about it more. But when MEK was released, I didn't react the way I did today. Why? Because it was Hillary Clinton. It was Obama. Like, come on, Hussein Obama removing Mujahideen Khal or MEK from a terrorist list. Okay. It's still upsetting, but I wasn't outraged. So the terrorist group, Al-Nusrat al-Front, is the Syrian Al-Qaeda group. Syrian, the country Syria, and then Al-Qaeda, the terrorist group. Who's the leader of it? Do you need a second? The very good-looking, suit, very jihadist leader of Syria, who in May of 2025 was captured shaking hands, smiling, and posing for pictures with President Trump while President Trump was at his Middle East tour. I covered that already and everything that was wrong with it. But then also very shortly after, President Trump said we're lifting all sanctions from Syria. Woohoo! And today, we're even going to remove his group. This isn't his country, okay? His group, his terrorist group was just removed from a terrorist group. Now, the terrorist list, the bare minimum of your name being on a terrorist list is, first of all, it becomes much harder for the terrorist group or the jihadist group to move funds around. Okay, it's so much harder. Second thing, when you're on a terrorist list, you can't come to U.S. You just can't. You can't show up and say, hey, I'm here for a visit. When you're not on that list, both of that becomes very easy. Any member of THS can get on a plane and come to America now for a visit, probably. I think I told you at the beginning, I'm going to do a lot of giggling and laughing today, because if I don't, then a banshee will come out of me, and I don't want to do that. Yes, Zelda. Zelda on YouTube says, are you saying the media teaches us not to think for ourselves? Yes, ma'am. And trust me, on segment 4, we're going to talk about that very topic. Like, exact, zoomed in on that. Back to it. Sorry. Trying to keep up with comments while we do this. Okay. So, by the way, let me give very brief. Again, I want to plug that this will be a Substack in detailed depth. Why, who, where, how, a little after I wrap up the show. But Al-Nusrat Front was originally created when? In 2012 as official Al-Qaeda Syrian chapter. Syrian chapter of Al-Qaeda, 2012. Between 2012 until 2016, you name it, they've done it. And again, breakdown of some of their actions will be included on that Substack. From blowing up buildings to beheading Christians, videotaping and releasing it, burning Christians alive, kafirs and infidels alike, beheading, guns, bombs, you name it, they've done it. In 2016, they kind of sort of created this rebranding. It's like, okay, our name is getting really bad, and we're already on, a couple of terrorist lists, including US, and we're also, not getting good PR, we're not getting money, we're not getting funding, so let's rebrand ourselves. But what was the rebrand? They just changed their name. I am not kidding. They literally just changed their name, and they said, well, we're not Al-Qaeda chapter anymore, we're our own people. Same leader, same generals, same soldiers, same methods, still killing Christians in Syria. Yes, fighting Assad in Syria. They called it civil war, right? Because it was a civil war. It had nothing to do with power. It wasn't about getting jihad going. It had nothing to do with convincing the American president to come to the Middle East, shake our hand, take pictures, lift sanctions, remove our name from terrorists. None of that was on the table. Innocent civil war. They were just trying to free Syrians, especially Christian Syrians, from Assad. If you haven't picked up, this is all sarcasm. It's all sarcasm. They renamed themselves in 2016, but continued the same methods, continued blowing things up. And thankfully, back then, for some reason, the original Trump, 2016-ish, didn't buy into the rebranding and the reforming and all that, so they kept them on the terrorist list. But then this time around, again, I have my own thoughts, and I have written extensively on this matter of President Trump and Islamist jihadist. And I have received all sort of backlashes that I could receive, and I don't care. I don't. You're more than welcome to tag me on this one too. But the point is, somebody's going to have to somehow get President Trump to realize, hello, sir, you have the man you proudly put a truth, as you call your social media posting truth. You put a truth out on your Truth Social, claiming proudly that you saved Khamenei's life. Well, guess what? He just put a $2 million bounty on your head. Oops. Sir, you traveled to Middle East, didn't visit Israel, but made sure to stand next to a jihadist, proven jihadist, owning and leading a group since 2012 that immediately got into terrorist list in America. You went to make sure to shake his hand, publicly legitimize his power in Syria, and then lifted all sanctions and approved Saudi Arabia to pay off all Syrian debts. So this wonderful, good-looking monster could receive a clean slate of country with no money owed, no sanctions on, and you even stepped further to release his group. This group is still exist, okay? They still exist. THS to this day exist. Manifesto exist. Bombings exist. Since this man took power in Syria, more Christians have been arrested and beheaded. But somehow you decided his group needed extra leniency and needs to be removed from the foreign terrorist list of United States of America. Sir, you might think you're building some friends and allies in Middle East with a bunch of jihadists. Unfortunately, what you don't realize is not only you're jeopardizing your own safety. Did I mention the $2 million bounty on your head? I did. Okay, good. Just want to double check. There's so much going on to cover. I don't want to miss that one. You are also risking American lives. The fact that you have opened the White House to convicted jihadists who have served 13 years in federal prison inside America, talk about Christopher, who goes by Ismail now, from him to your interfaith dialogue faith office of White House, all the way to the Khamenei that you saved his life and you were expecting a thank you instead of a bounty, all the way to Syria and removing THS from the terrorist list. Sir, you are risking American lives. I am not attacking you. I was never a never Trumper. Actually, one of the audience right here who's watching this very live stream can testify that myself and we froze in middle of Ohio from 8 a.m. to 3:20 p.m. so I could vote for you. It happened. Okay? Just want to make sure you understand where I'm coming from. At the moment, I don't know, due to lack of knowledge, due to wrong advisors, or due to high level of ego, you are putting us at risk. And I pray, because at this point, I don't know what else to do. I pray that somehow, somewhere, you will be woken to the reality of the gamble you have chosen to do that goes beyond your safety and your power and your legacy. And it will end up with American bloods paying the price for what you are looking the other way. As an ex-Muslim, I can guarantee you, sir, buy the fanciest Armani suit and put a jihadi in it, it will be shredded into pieces when the time is right and when Allah tells them to blow themselves up with that Armani suit on. That's pretty much as I can tell you, sir. Not that you'll ever see this, and even if you do, just like you ignored the existence of Prince Pahlavi's invitation and letters, you're probably going to ignore the existence of this information as well. However, I shall continue praying for you so you can come to realize that just because they call it peace, it doesn't mean it is peace. Sometimes wrapping mistakes in name of policy and diplomacy can be very, very expensive. We're going to have to take our last ad break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about media. Conservative, alternative, the good guys, and their disastrous mark. They just left yesterday. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Brandon House. Melissa and I have been taking Bella Grace, this powerful elixir, since last fall, 2023. The results have been amazing. My hands would crack and bleed, deep cuts and cracks every winter for years. No matter what we did, we couldn't get them to stop cracking and bleeding. This year, I took Bella Grace, no cracking, no bleeding. My acid reflux, gone. Haven't had to take a Pepsid. My hair growth, the last 2 times I had my hair cut, the lady had to use thinning shears on my hair. That's amazing. We've also received incredible feedback from you, our listening audience, and the impact it's had for you. This is loaded with astaxanthin. That's a powerful antioxidant. Collagen, but top grade collagen. Studies show 95% of it is being absorbed in the body because of the way they develop it. Then we have something called cat's claw. That's an anti-inflammatory from a vine In Peru, it's the bark, and it's an anti-inflammatory. There are about 80 clinical trials on Bella Grace. Please get a subscription now and save. MelissaHouseBG.com.
Welcome back to Live Up to Freedom. Thanks so much for staying with me until now. Before we get to our last topic, definitely not least, let me address a few comments. One of them most important. On YouTube, we have a comment from Pierre DeWall. I doubt those mullahs have 2 million after investing billions of dollars to fix hold on, billions of dollars to nuclear facility, rocket factory, and being destroyed by, oh, got you. So you think mullahs don't have the $2 million to pay the bounty because they have to fix their rocket facility and nuclear facilities after U.S. and Israel hit them. Great point, valid point. Can we quickly put that website of tar.ir back on the screen if we could? Because here's what you don't know, DeWall. I love your last name, by the way. If we could put that website back up, the mullahs don't have the money, and they aren't planning to pay the money out of their pocket, but they did manage to do a crowdfunding. That's how much they have raised so far. 26. Actually, that's amazing. At the beginning of this show, we were at 25 million. $26,023,541 have been raised openly and publicly on the Iranian Islamic Republic of Iran's website built that is accepting donation across the world. And they're claiming they're not funding money, raising money for terrorism, but whatever they say. So I hate to break it to you. There are plenty of people across the world who are more than happy to donate to a campaign that will assassinate President Trump. Apparently there are. I'm sorry, as I said, I wish somebody would investigate and tell me how many Democrats are donating, because Democrats wouldn't mind that. Some of them would very much prefer that. They will give up a year of their salary to see that happen. So your point is accurate. Yes, the mullahs are trying to get back on their feet after the 12 days war that Israel did a lot of damages. However, they have no problem raising $2 million if they say, we're going to make sure Trump is dead. It's just the way they operate. So I hope that answered your question. Also, I mean, seems like they have a good, 23 million left. That's a lot of money to repair all the facility damages that U.S. or Israel did. Remember, one of the reasons Islam has successfully succeeded on their global caliphate is I have put so many samples on my different posts and videos. You just look at a simple, crowdfunding here in America to build a mosque, and hundreds of thousands of dollars are raised in 2 days. They're committed. They're committed. And remember, the Quran, which I'm kind of messing around with here, tells them that if you do not commit jihad with your wealth or your life, then you are not Allah's favorite. They are commanded to use their money for jihad. So even though the mullahs may not have the money, but, Trump enemies across the world were more than happy to fund the $2 million. Thank you, Billy. Billy on YouTube says, I'm praying for you and your family, and I'm praying for Donald Trump. Annie, you're doing a great job keeping up. I appreciate that. Yes, I can definitely use prayers. A few of you have noticed and sent either private or public messages saying that you're praying for my safety as well, because if I haven't announced it publicly, but all of the Iranian American or Iranian British, Iranian second line of country journalists who've been covering the 12 days of war and afterwards, and including today, we have all been put back on IRGC hit list, but that is all right, because I don't answer to IRGC, I answer to God, and He asked me to do this, so we shall continue doing it. Yes, the wall, I figured that would be shocking. I figured you joined me a little later. We showed that website earlier on the show. Okay, Why are there people committed to obeying and contributing to the lunacy of Islam cult of terrorism? Sonia on Facebook is asking that. Sonia, let me ask you this. Why are there so many people who are willing to commit and obey the cult of evil in, let's say, pedophilia? The same reason. Human nature, unfortunately. I actually have a tattoo right here on my shoulder, back of my shoulder. It's a dagger and a rose, both equally on height, and then the handle of the dagger goes over the rose, and it's my spelling of my name, Inos. And every time I'm asked, what's that? We were born equal on good and evil. We choose which one to cherish. We have the choice, free will and all, right? We can cherish good, do what's right, walk by God's commands, or we can choose to commit and obey anything of Satan. Remember, I have proven over and over, Allah of Islam is Satan, right? He described himself as the greatest of deceivers, right there. So the same reason many people are committed to obeying and committing to any other act of evil or Satan. I mean, we have Church of Satan. It's the same as a mosque. Unfortunately, it is part of human nature to be more deceived by evil than guided by God. And it's just getting worse because there's just way too much more ways for evil to trick. And unfortunately, by dumbing down our next generation and teaching them no values and canceling out Sunday dinner, we have definitely enabled that scenario, sadly. Okay, I do need to cover the next topic before I wrap up, and I only have 5 minutes, so I'm going to go at this fast. If you missed it, Tucker Carlson interviewed Iran's president, Dr. Pezeshkian. He made a couple of promo videos about it a few days ago, and he said, hey, before you come at me, this is what real journalism is, yada, 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 yada. I have nothing against Tucker Carlson. You know what? It's between him and his funders, contributors, sponsors, whatever. What he does with his time and his interview, absolutely up to him. Again, this is America. Good for you. Kudos for doing it. He did mention it's going to be awkward because he's doing it in English and then somebody's translating it for Pezeshkian. He's answering in Farsi. Somebody's translating it in English. Which, in the future, Tucker, call me. I have a much less awkward, better way to do this. Just call me if you want. That being said, he did also say that I will tell you ahead of time why I'm doing this, because we have never given them a chance to tell us their side of a story. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to ask certain questions like, how badly did we damage your facilities or your nuclear program? Because we know he's not going to tell us the truth. So I'm not going to even ask that. Okay. Here's the list of questions Tucker Carlson did ask. How would Iranian President Pezeshkian like to see the conflict end? Is Iran willing to give up their nuclear program in exchange for peace? Was the International Atomic Energy Agency spying on Iran and giving information to Israel? Is Iran open to diplomacy? Has the Israel government tried to assassinate the Iranian president? Should Americans be afraid of Iran? The Ayatollah's religious decree against Donald Trump, the fatwas. Has Iran ever tried to assassinate Trump? Are there Iranian sleeper cells in the States, United States? What happened to the relationship between Iran and Israel? Sanctions on American businesses in Iran. Is Iran open to American investment? Is Iran's regime open to American investment in Iran? And if war breaks out with Iran, would they receive assistance from Russia and China? As I said, Tucker, it's up to you what you want to do with your money, your crew, your people, your platform. Absolutely up to you. However, to do a promo video to say, I'll tell you what, I'm not going to ask questions that I know I'm not going to get absolute truth from, and then go ask those questions, you contradicted your goal an agenda from this interview so ridiculously a 2-year-old can tell? Did you really ask Pezeshkian if they have ever tried to assassinate Trump? You know what his answer was, by the way? And if you have missed it, the interview is publicly open, 28 minutes, available on Tucker Carlson. You can watch it. But the answer was no, we didn't. When Tucker asked about the clerics putting fatwas on or bounties on Trump, well, fatwas, because back then there was no bounty, Pezeshkian said, those fatwas are in their figure of speech. They're not literal. And here's the thing. Tucker doesn't know anything about anything, so he couldn't be saying, sir, there is no figure of speech when it comes to fatwas by definition of Sharia inside the reliance of the traveler. Whether a cleric or a imam puts out any kind of judgment, it is to be taken literal. He couldn't do that because he doesn't know anything. And also, it's interesting because when Tucker Carlson asked Pezeshkian, why do you chant death to America? Pezeshkian said, the death to America chant isn't toward the people and the leaders of America. Then what is it towards? The land or the soft buildings? And Tucker's like, and when the interview is done, or at the beginning, it's like, we need to give both sides a fair share, sorry. I did not ask the questions that I knew I'm not going to get absolute truth from him, but I asked questions that will answer a lot of questions to a lot of Americans who deserve to know the truth. Tucker Carlson, dude, bro, you've done some amazing journalism, but what you just did with Pezeshkian, it is not real journalism, okay? It's not. Real journalism is where you go and find Iranian citizens and ask them questions. When you call people like me and say, hey, when you were growing up and they had you every morning at a school chanting to death to America, what was it exactly targeted towards? Lake Michigan? Because apparently it's not about the people and the leaders. No, that's real journalism. Real journalism is to get to the bottom of it. Real journalism is to understand that no president of Iran since 1979 until today has ever declined to use taqiyya. And you just made kind of an idiot out of yourself, to be honest. Anybody who watches that video, I mean, you look really dumb. Like the nodding and not knowing what you're talking about. You should have leave the, like, you know, when you sat down with Putin, you should just left it at that. Because with Iran, you made your own audience aware how uneducated you are when it comes to the system of the Iran's regime since 1979. Sadly, we just came to an end of this episode. I won't be here. Me and Miriam, we're not going to be here tomorrow. We both have some conflict of a schedule, but I will be back Wednesday. And hopefully I might have some better news than I did today. Remember, lutfstudio.com, lutfstudio.com. Promo code MISSION is where you can directly support my work or become a paid subscriber on my Substack, liveuptofreedom.substack.com. Thank you so much. Stay safe, stay vigilant, and I will see you all Wednesday.